Be sure to log into your YouTube account, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a video. Best of all, it's free to do so.
Hello there, and welcome back to Porsche Club Insider. This is episode 19, and if you are watching us on YouTube, and if you're just listening to us, we are actually in our new home. We are at PCA headquarters. We've built a podcast studio in one of our offices here, so we hope you like it, but the whole goal is maybe we'll be able to bring you more podcast content on a regular basis, and this is our inaugural one. So what do you think?
So I think of Rob, because this is Rob's office.
And
Rob used to have like a nice suite. He had all this room and everything. And now it's been turned into a, I guess, typical Manhattan apartment. This would rent for maybe $3,000, $4,000 a month.
This is easily 80 or 90 square feet.
So I'm talking about the space that you have now, because now you're sharing space with Coyle, our intern.
Yeah.
So and then 50% of the space is the podcast.
Right.
Studio.
And Coyle is sitting where I would be.
Essentially, what you've done is you've subleased my office to the podcast studio.
It's for the better good of PCA.
Yeah. We got a smaller table, so I feel like we're in the back of my Suburban doing the podcast.
But I'm looking at it on camera here. It looks pretty good. It's compact, but it's going to work. We're not normally going to have all four of us. Well, maybe we will. But, yeah, we definitely can't put as many laptops up. But that's okay. It's going to work.
When you went shopping for the table, did you use life-size people to measure, or were you bringing little people?
I went to IKEA. The key thing was the height and being able to fit in this little space here.
Yeah. We need to get the hell out of here in 30 minutes because the tiny homes people are coming here to shoot next.
And the bar stools was actually the reason why it's higher is because if you sit lower, then we would have actually spread out in space. So we're more vertical. So see, there's a whole science to all this.
Sounds like a real estate salesperson trying to explain why this little
is a steal. You know,
it's cozy.
Who needs personal space?
So check out these wonderful mics we got from Telefunken. They hooked us up with a great deal, and headphones sound good, mic sounds good. They look beautiful. So thank you to them.
You just like seeing the word Telefunken.
I do. I obviously like the 550 Spiders back in the day that ran, with Telefunken on the hood, and to see this brand in front of us, that's kind of cool, right?
Oh, the vintage radio, that's what I think of. And 356s, the shortwave bands. And
so pretty cool that
Bakelite knobs and all that stuff.
This company has the name, right? I guess they must have bought it and continued it because it was a radio company, and now they do microphones. So maybe it's a copyright. I don't know.
I think Tony bought the name.
The name?
Yeah, and continued it on, which is very cool.
Yeah,
it's
very
well-known brand name.
Yep, and he's got some pretty amazing cars. Have you seen his collection?
He was telling me about him up in Connecticut.
He's got some cool cars.
Definitely want to see him.
All right, so I'm here with the whole classes here, the Insider crew. I'm your host, Vu Nguyen, PCA's Executive Director, Manny Albin, our Technical Director, Rob Sass, Porsche Panorama Editor, and Damon Lowney, our Digital Media Coordinator. And off to the side, we have our special intern, Coyle, who might pop in if we have some questions for him. No special guests other than really just kind of kicking it off, having the podcast here at PCA headquarters. So next time folks come through the PCA open house and such, they'll see how not elaborate this is, but on video, hopefully it looks decent. So last time we were together for a podcast, I know we released a couple since we were last together, but we were at Porsche Parade, halfway through Parade, and you guys, I remember, I think in that conversation, you had already driven the Ruby Stone C2, and I was quite jealous.
Yes, we had.
But I made up for it. Did I share with you what I got to?
But before you get to that, I got to tell you, it really has bothered me, the drive of that 964 RS. Because they say never meet your heroes.
Uh-oh.
And it was like nothing I expected. The car was, it was a handful. Mm-hmm. And that was just, being a little aggressive on these country roads. So I read an article from The Drive. Mm-hmm. I guess he was invited to the same trip that Rob went to. And he wrote, so I went right to his review of the 964 RS. And I was happy to see that it mirrored very much my experience, that it was a, not a touring car. That it was definitely a race car.
Yeah. What did you think of the steering?
It didn't bother me at all. Mm-hmm. I was just expecting, I guess I was expecting my old race car. Mm-hmm. just even later, I guess. Even though my race car, I think, was probably like 30 pounds lighter than this RS. But certainly, it was a whole different feel of a car. And
How about the throttle?
it was interesting. What people may not realize, especially the early RSs, including the Carrera RS and the 964 RS, it wasn't a huge horsepower jump. Went from 247 to 260, which nowadays you would laugh if you said it was 13 horsepower more. But it wasn't just that. That was just the tip of the iceberg. It was a lot more to the car that made it special. So I'm glad that someone else had the same impression that I had. That it wasn't. It was truly a race car. Everyone wants a thoroughbred. Everyone talks about having this pure car, this visceral feel, and this is not a touring car, not a car I would want to cross country with. But
I had driven your car, Manny, and I thought your car was much easier to drive due to the clutch pedal and a single you have the dual mass flywheel on your car.
Flywheel, yeah.
So the lightweight flywheel on the Carrera RS definitely makes it tougher to pull away from a stop. It's a little more nerve-wracking, especially in traffic, like when I drove it. But otherwise, I agree.
David had to cross a 4-lane highway.
There's a traffic jam in Pennsylvania. So who'd have thought? But
I turned right there. I just turned right.
Yeah, you turned right and came around. I waited.
I just did not want to chance it.
Oh man.
Yeah. Watch your mic too. Pull your mic closer.
All right, so we'll go back to your.
Wait,
your
but let
special.
me ask you though. So the prices of 964 RSs is unattainable for most people, but a lot of people have 964s and like, oh, why I've done this to my car. It's pretty much an RS. Like, do you think that holds true that someone can take a 964 and make changes to it and get to the same level of an RS?
I think you can. Mine was. Set up like a cup car. Very much. All the parts were cup car parts. But I guess it's the actual setup. And I had it set up because to my way I drive, and so the car felt like a dream to me. Getting what the factory says is set up as a RS. If I owned the RS, I would probably do a lot of suspension adjustment to make it fit me. I guess. To a little bit, I felt what people must feel like who drive for Red Bull. They say it's set up for Verstappen, the cars, and that's why everyone else struggles because they don't have his driving style. Yeah. So I could see where the RS Verstappen would probably love that car.
Interesting.
A little loose.
So back to how I was jealous about you guys getting to drive that car. I had the opportunity to do a 1 mile review in a 918 Spider. Man, that was pretty amazing.
Was it your first time getting a ride in one?
Yes, actually, in a 918 Spider, because I've only ridden in a Carrera GT. So that thing was pretty amazing. Again, without giving away the complete video, it's quite reasonable on the highway, but man, when the motor fires off, it is a beast, and it's beautiful. It's very hard to get in and out of, at least from the passenger side, and I hope that Damon did not put that in the video, because
it'll definitely be in the video.
Your ingress and your egress was embarrassing.
Well, on the driver's side, I guess I know how to put my arm down by the sill and get in and out, but going in from the passenger side, it was really awkward. And not only is it awkward to get in, but there's so much exposed, say, carbon and paint and beautiful leather, and like you don't want to scratch it, so I'm trying to like fall into it perfectly without scrubbing my jeans or whatever on the sides of the beautiful parts. It didn't look very pretty.
Yeah, obviously you've never been in a Lotus Elise.
I felt like a turtle.
Have you gotten in and out of a Elise?
No, but I've watched someone get in and out of a Elise that pretty much looked like an upside down turtle.
Don't look at me.
Don't look. Yeah, so you guys want to talk about the second half of Porsche Parade?
Yeah, so we did the previous podcast 2 podcasts ago. We did it on that Tuesday, so it was the day after Concours. And of course, I had a lot of people come up and say, "Oh, I came up, and boy, Parade really dies after Concours." and I'd explained to him that we have really the same amount of people, but the events are different. You know, as opposed to the concours where everyone's together and all the cars in the parking lot. Here, there was a bunch of different events going, and if you woke up early enough, and I think Damon, did you go out there for the tour starts?
Tour
No,
departure
no,
area.
I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I just went out there. First, I discovered that Pirelli sponsored a coffee station from Starbucks.
Yep.
So instead
If I
of
had known
buying
about that.
Starbucks, I just went to the coffee station every morning. I would come down, and then I would hang out and talk to the tour entrance before they departed. But it was you would not lose, but we would have about 400, 500 cars leave in the morning to go on tours.
In all different directions.
And these tours included lunch, and they didn't come back to almost dinner time. So you take that away, and then there was later on Autocross. There was the gimmick rally. So basically, during the day, I would say, what do you think, 25% of the parade population stayed at the hotel, hung
Yeah,
around. The rest
yeah,
were on
exactly.
their cars driving around. So
People are out and about.
yeah, it does look empty if you come during 11 o'clock on a weekday after a Concord because the cars are all gone on tours. But yeah, if you just want to hang out and look at cars in the morning, the departure for the tours is a great place.
Yeah, it seems like everybody had a good time. Lots of different destinations to check out. It's good food, good drives, and you know the nice thing about these tours is the local region checks them out, and they have all these different destinations set and planned routes. And certainly there are some times when there's road construction that came about at the last minute, but for the most part, these people have ran these routes a number of times before our members even get out there.
It's a lot of work to do a tour because you've got to run and rerun these routes to make sure there's no mistakes in instructions, and then you got to rerun them like the day before to make sure that suddenly they didn't decide to tear down a bridge.
Yeah.
That could throw the whole thing into haywire. That's really hard for the rally guys because at least in a tour, if you have to take a detour, it's no big deal. In the rally, that can screw up a whole leg.
All the calculations and stuff. So Wednesday was the first day of Autocross, and they had a beautiful day. And I was pretty excited for this parade because this is the second time that I was able to take a two-door Porsche to parade. I brought my 996 and was looking forward to Autocross. But the way my car is classed, I actually ran on Thursday. But before we get to that, kudos to the Autocross setup crew. They ran a phenomenal Autocross over at the Pocono Raceway, and I'll get into the Thursday's event, but Wednesday was just like flawless. Like I think they finished up at like 1 o'clock or something, or 1:30.
They're already coming back to like eat lunch at the hotel.
Yeah.
The pictures you just saw were from Thursday, actually, which the weather was not the same.
Yeah, so there's that grin. Actually,
Was that before or after you got your?
That was before.
So if we can go back, Robert, to where I'm standing next to Damon there. So that is my look of worry because it is pouring down rain, and and Damon's on.
Damon doesn't look worried at all.
Damon is excited because his tires are a little bit more appropriate for the wet weather.
Yeah.
And it was cold, and I had a couple more excuses I was going to bring up, but I'm drawing a blank right now. But it was still a beautiful course setup, but it was cold and rainy on Thursday, and I was the first car out after the doubles.
You were
So
soon,
I was the first.
That's my run, just if anyone's
single.
wondering.
And
And this is actually on one of the racetrack surfaces.
Yeah. Yep.
Because Pocono, you have has a bunch of different configurations, not just for NASCAR, but for sports car racing.
The setup had a nice flow to it. It was what's nice about the setup is it was good for beginners if they wanted to take it nice and slow. It was easy to follow along. But if you were driving aggressive like Damon is here, it was still very challenging. In fact, my third run, I was a bit too aggressive and I actually spun it. I spun it in one of the turns, and then of course your run after the run where you spin, you're kind of timid. And so I will be the first to admit that for this particular autocross, are you running on this Saturday?
I am.
Okay,
I'll be there.
So this Saturday it's round 2, but for round 1, I will hand it to Mr. Lowney. He did crush me.
Let's
pretty
delve
Wow.
into the placing a little bit.
Oh,
I got 7th overall.
No, that placing isn't as important as the time difference.
Good. Oh, jeez.
Because autocrossing, a second is a lifetime.
Yes. I was what, 4 lifetimes behind you?
Something like that.
Oh my God, it was
Damon
embarrassing.
came with a smile.
Yep.
I thought he had a date on the way over back to the hotel or something. He was so happy.
Oh my
Well, my
gosh.
car, it feels great, and the tires that I was on, they were the Yokohama A052s. They just work really, really, really well. And right off the go, first run, second, third run are probably your best.
Yeah.
And they're great, really, really good if it's raining or wet. Not like standing water, but if it's wet out, you can still pull a lot of grip with them. So
All right, we'll see you on Saturday.
You really think you can beat him?
I'm gonna
well,
bring
he's always
it.
close. That was really abnormal.
Yeah, that 4-second difference, that is highly unusual. I know he's done upgrades to his cars, but 4 seconds,
Yep.
yeah, that was not right. Not right at all. So we'll see. But yeah, Thursday we wrapped the autocross up. Although it was rainy, they also finished in like record time, and people still had a blast. So
Yep.
it was
Lot of
pretty
fun.
cool.
Then we have to give a shout out to the I think Dave Montgomery was his name, and his 914.6. He I think wins every single autocross he comes to Parade at, and this is such a crazy car. He's such a great driver, and he was, I want to say, 4 or 5 seconds in front of me.
Yeah.
So
We have that video. Maybe we can post it. I think we have.
yeah. I'll get it from before we
I
post
have
this.
I have it in my inbox. I'll send it to you.
Yep.
And we should post it for people so people
Yep.
see how.
And for
quickly
those
he
listening, the video will start now.
Yeah.
And the neat thing is a 914, a car that came out in '69, is still getting FTD.
Okay,
Porsche
but this
Parades.
when you see what this 914 looks like, it is not like a 914 that came off the production
Yep.
line. This thing is
still a
this thing.
914.
He
this
ran
thing-
with a windshield this time.
And he has a
doesn't usually-
6-cylinder flat 6 engine in it.
This
It's not-
thing is
Yeah.
widened and like lightened and
Yep.
reinforced. I
and
mean,
the way it goes around cones,
it
as
is
you'll see right
purpose
now.
built. It is amazing that.
Does
it is
he
a
still have
914.
torsion bar
So
front
it's still running on
suspension?
torsion bars.
I don't think so. Is
No?
he running?
I'm not sure.
I
The
can't
CrossFit?
imagine that he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, Andy's one heck of a driver. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And for those that aren't religious parade attendees, 914s usually get FTD.
Yeah.
Of some sort. Obviously, they're modified.
If they're
but,
modified, yeah.
But they,
Well, Tom Pravasi had a pretty sick.
him and his orange crate for many
Yeah,
years got FTD. And for parade also, when you guys are saying it got done at 1:30, so there's obviously a lot of rules with parade with the competitive events, and one of them is that all the classes have to run together.
Yes.
So they're not like a normal autocross. You sign up and they'll put a bunch of different classes in the first heat, a bunch of different classes in the second heat. At parade, your all your class is running together, because what happens is as soon as the last car finishes their run, they put them in impound, and they have 30 minutes.
Something
in
like
impound.
that.
You got 30 minutes to protest if you see something that you feels
Yeah, and it's
illegal.
not fair if somebody runs in your class in the morning when it was raining, like
Yeah,
me.
like what I did. I ran in
Or-
the morning, but should have
but
ran
he-
in the afternoon.
Exactly.
You won't see my name on a timesheet, so for what it's worth.
But it was you against I, so it wasn't really.
Yeah, I'm still happy. I had a
I'm
blast.
going to make trophies for Damon so he can hang next to his cubicle.
I know. Maybe next
First
year
place
you won't
and
have
then
technical.
Oh, man.
do second place with
Oh.
the times.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Tech Tactics Live at Parade.
Yeah, so I told someone, I said there was so much to do at Parade that on a random Thursday there was the gimmick rally, there was an autocross going on, and we managed to fill up Tech Tactics Live
Oh,
audience.
that was my other excuse. I was worried about getting back so I could make sure I could be ready for Tech Tactics Live. So my mind wasn't in it completely
Oh,
when I
yeah.
was driving. Does that sound pretty good?
Well, except that I had to go back for the same thing.
I was gonna say.
Oh, darn it.
So yeah, we set up Tech Tactics Live in the ballroom that was hospitality, or that it was hospitality. We took it over for a few hours, and brought in Nathan Mers, and we did what we did last year. What's my Porsche worth? So I picked 4 or 5 Porsche members' cars, and we interviewed the member. They talked about the car, and then Nathan gave what he thought the cars are worth, and it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The big discussion was Bob Miller's 72 all original 911 because of the price range can vary so much depending on
There's so
what
few
you're
of them
looking
out there.
for.
So,
Yeah,
and if it takes
exactly.
2 people that want
There
it,
is
that
in the
could really
picture.
drive up
Yeah,
drive
it's,
up the price. But beautiful car.
Yep, and Nathan brought his hot rod long hood with the 3.2 Motronic engine in it, which he he drive halfway and then he trailered the rest.
Right, because he picked up a trailer, and he won first in his class, and he wasn't even really looking to really do that well. Which is interesting, is because when he brought his Cayman to French Lick, and someone beat him, but he was really trying to win that one.
Yeah.
Right.
So this one he didn't try so hard, and he took first. So.
And let's
You
face
never
it,
know
it is
how it goes.
Nathan, the guy who does everything better than you. So
Yeah, but Parade is it's very tough.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some serious competitors out there, and it's kudos that he won a trophy.
Yeah.
Because the guy next to him was from Canada, and he had that white
the 3.2 Carrera.
3.2 Carrera
the
that
father and son.
he did father and son drivers there.
Oh yeah.
He was in preservation, and he was asking people. He goes, "Guess what's the mileage?" And we were all guessing like high 60s, maybe. It was 160 some miles.
It was like 175 or something.
Yes, it was huge mile. I mean, the car was just flawless, and
Yeah.
this guy double duty tracked car.
So the one thing that got me on that car, what year was that car again?
84, 85.
84? 84, 85?
Yeah.
But it had 15-inch
Yes,
Fuchs,
that's what we got talking
right?
about.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't, like it.
They went back to that with 3.2 Carreras for some reason. In Europe, you'd get 15-inch phone dials, commonly as the base wheel, and 7 and 8-inch Fuchs. In
It
the
looked
US.
weird. I mean,
Yeah.
it
I
didn't
think it
look
looks
weird.
nice.
It
It
didn't
was-
look weird. It just didn't look right to me. I'm like, I've never a 3.2 Carrera with 15-inch Fuchs. And then so I talked to him about it. He's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
because I guess it came that way.
Yeah.
And 16s were an
Yeah,
option.
if you
and
wanted more comfort, you got the 15s with the fatter sidewalls.
they look like balloon tires.
I like it though. It kind of reminds me of like a 74 27, Carrera.
Yeah, it just caught me by surprise. In my mind, I was like, are those the wrong
No.
size wheels? But no, they were right.
No, I saw it a lot on cabs.
I should know better. I mean, somebody bringing a car like that to Conquer, I'm sure they, whatever's on the car is accurate.
Yeah.
But it just looked weird to me.
Yeah, but you saw it a lot on cabs. People who are more concerned with comfort than.
Oh yeah.
But and for some reason in Europe, people would order phone dials
Yeah.
is the base wheel, which you don't see here very often.
So Tech Tactics Live went really well, and then on Friday we had the Tech Academy, and I woke up to a slew of text messages and voicemails, and someone was just a little bit stressed that morning. Manny?
Hey, you had gone home, Rob, so you missed all the fun.
You miss all the fun.
Yeah, I got an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, so if you don't think I was stressed.
Oh no. You
was-
had about 75 people getting ready
I thought
to
the
take-
one thing I wouldn't have to worry about was the tech quiz because that was all under control. And 11 o'clock at night, I get a text message from Steve saying, I have a 103-degree fever. I don't think I'll be able to do the tech quiz. Can you come by my room and pick up the tech quiz tomorrow morning? But you got to be down there by 6. The down there at 6 part's easy. The running the tech quiz was a whole different animal because obviously I had not prepared to do anything. In fact, I was going to spend my that morning setting up for Tech Tactics.
So here's the hardcore tech quiz. People are not the most laid back of our membership.
Yes.
I'm shocked. I really.
And the basic necessities of pencils, I believe, is what you
Yes,
needed.
in my head, I've taken a ton of Parade tech quizzes, and in my head, I'm thinking, what exactly am I going to need? When I got down there, Steve had gotten all the tech quizzes photocopied, so we got that. Luckily, the volunteers that came had all worked tech quizzes before, so they knew exactly what to do. But we couldn't find pencils,
And of course, they probably have to be number 2 pencils.
or at least close to it.
Right.
Something dark, and they want pencils, not pens, because if they change their mind, you can't erase pen. And so they use Scantrons, and I'm like, and that's in full panic mode now because where the hell do you find pencils at the hotel that, especially when you need 100 of them? So I called Melanie, our event
Melanie
manager.
to the rescue.
Yes. Luckily, I knew she'd be awake. And she's like, well, I was going to go to Walmart anyhow. I said, super. I said, I need this. And I think I'm going to need a sharpener because in my head I'm thinking, they don't self-sharpen pencils usually. It's all, you got to sharpen them yourself. So then in my head I'm thinking, how long does it take to sharpen a pencil? Because, the tech quiz is supposed to start promptly at 8 a.m. And at this point it's like 7:20. And I'm timing how long it takes to Walmart, find the pencils at Walmart, And so I'm starting to prepare people that the tech quiz may be a few minutes late in starting. And then finally, Steve texted me back because he hadn't been texting me back, and he said, "Oh, the pencils are in the box in the room." And the room was still locked, so we got the hotel to come and open up the test room. There it is, the box with all the supplies, and fortunately, a ton of pencils. So I was able to call Melanie and say, "Don't rush. You can go to Walmart."
I came down, saw him. He looked like he just ran a 5K. He was sweating bullets. But I had full confidence that he would pull it off. Meanwhile, while he was worried about that, I was worried about some of the seminars that were canceled, and we had to find some interesting filler content.
So Steve also was going to do a presentation on a Vu's 356 engine he rebuilt. And then we actually had a lot of people interested in who wanted to see him talk about how he rebuilt this engine that was in storage for so long. And so that's canceled, and Vu had a great idea, because I was ready to say, well, that's just going to be an open spot. And he's like, why don't we talk about how the Classic Club Coupe was done from the PCA side? So we quickly
called Abe. Abe, I need the
pivot.
keys. I need the keys.
Brought the car in, and we filled that. We filmed it for posterity purposes.
Yeah, but it was really the behind the scenes discussion on the Classic Club Coupe stuff that the discussions around the in and out table and
all the way
stuff like
from
that.
actually we started.
We took it back.
We took it back to the 911T that we restored back in 2011. I guess our relationship with Porsche Classic really got cemented, and how we've gotten all these projects since that time, and how they enjoy working with PCA as much as we enjoy working with them. So it was, I think the people.
We had a full house. We had
yeah.
people standing in the back.
Yeah, the whole Tech Tactics live format worked really well. It was always a filled room. In fact, I had to turn people away because there was no more seats and it was getting too crowded inside the room. Because we also had two other seminars going on at the same time that were equally filled as well. So, yeah, it was a pretty good day. Went by pretty fast.
It didn't go by fast. We filmed 4 episodes, so we did. We filmed the Classic Club Coupe. We're not publishing that one, but we filmed John Paderak, which I think we recently released. Paderak's video, which I love listening to all the things that come across his shop. And
the best thing about Paderak is you have him who's semi-retired and his son Andrew who's taken over the business. And Andrew's like this person who wants to keep all the patina intact. And he had signs on the cars that said,
do not touch,
wash,
do
not
wash.
wipe down. And John's going, that's a polite sign. Usually it's a little bit stronger wording. And John, who wants everything shiny and doesn't understand, why would someone want to put back gauges that are all pitted and rusted when you can have nice shiny bezels and whatnot? So it was interesting hearing. It would have been great to have Andrew on to hear
we should bring him on.
A counter discussion.
That would be awesome to bring both.
He's usually at the actual Tech Tactic events in Easton. He always comes up. So it was great hearing the struggles they run into and what, basically the gist of it is if it's a barn find, you keep it a barn find, you restore it, At what point is it rusted and no longer patina?
All right. I don't understand barn finds at all. I mean, I do understand actual preservation class survivor cars, but, rusty barn finds just don't make any sense to me. Although I got to say, one of these days, I'd love to fake a barn find just to see if you could fool people. Get a vacuum cleaner, put it in reverse, find some yellowed newspapers, a couple of mouse nests. But I don't get barn finds.
Have you ever seen Rob Abbott's? He has an SC that he wrapped, and it looks rusted and paint peeling off of it, but it's all wrap.
Yeah.
And the first time we saw it, we were doing a garage crawl where we go visit different people's garages as a region. And we pulled up to his driveway, and I told my wife, I'm like, wow, I'm like, his neighbors probably love him because he had this like ratty looking SC in his driveway that looked like it was just dripping rust.
But on the inside, it looks perfect.
Yeah, and as I got closer, I'm like, wait a minute, the rust, it looks almost like it's distorted.
Right.
And then I put my hand on it and realized it was a wrap. It wasn't.
Oh, that's funny.
They love that
So
car.
I had a Porsche just like that until this weekend when I clay barred it, buffed it, and washed it.
On your Cayman?
You washed your
I
Cayman?
washed my
Washed it?
Cayman.
Damon, that could have been one of those videos. Like, I haven't been washed in 3 years.
we should
Yeah,
have
like
done
the
a
ammo
time lapse.
detailing people.
I want to say 2 washes a year, maybe 3 usually, and I
my
park it in the
God.
garage, so it's the cleanest
Clay
it's ever
barred it.
been.
Wow.
I clay barred it, yeah.
Wow.
But, it used to have
Is
that
the Camry
patina.
next?
No, Camry will never get washed.
Yeah, the Camry is
The
behind.
Camry will
patina.
fall apart if he washes it.
Yeah, probably will.
The,
Yeah,
the
but can you
sponge
say
will
your
literally go
Camry-
through the hood.
Can you say your Camry got the attention of designers and from Weissach from Germany?
Yeah, yeah.
They were fascinated by Damon's Cayman.
I think I saw Boris taking a picture. So look for a new Camry-inspired detail in one of the new Heritage cars.
The best was when Ube was sticking his finger through the rust hole.
All right, the sight to really behold was the departure area for the Porsche Parade. Did you guys? Well, he left early. Rob left early, but you guys came out and saw.
Yeah, I was up on a lift.
300 and some cars.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh my gosh, what an amazing sight. People were so excited to get ready. So here they are, preparing to go out to do a parade
You
lap.
see in the bottom,
to
there's me
Pocono
on the
Raceway.
lift.
There you go.
And you can see how far up. We used the drone for some of these photos, which was great to have here. But tons of cars.
We should mention with the drone that we were obviously in compliance with the
Oh, yeah.
drone policy.
Yep, total compliance. Check the description for the DUA number, et cetera, et cetera. But it was
But the reason
really
why we
nice.
have the boom truck is that it was you can see the trees
Yeah.
there in the video. It was super windy, so we weren't sure if the drone would actually be able to go up. So we created a plan B,
Yep.
which was having that boom come out. Thankfully, the convention center, they have it so that they can hang things.
Yep.
So we brought that out. The boom worked as well, but having a professional drone pilot, he was kind of measuring wind speed and watching things, and he sent it up and he flew it, and it was stable. He stayed away, obviously, from people and cars, but got some amazing shots.
Yeah.
I was amazed at the organization and the state police and the local police who shut down the intersections. And basically, we went from there straight to Pocono Raceway, and we got on the racetrack, did a lap at speed, not a hot lap, but not a parade lap either, and got right off the track, went back on the road, and it was a police escort all the way to the end.
I was amazed so I'm standing at the corner right there waving to everybody. The reason why I'm staying back is because we're getting ready to, once this is done, create the 70th 70 years of Porsche Club logo in the parking lot, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. But I'm like, okay, so these guys will go out there. I'll probably have a couple hours to set up. But you guys got back so quickly because you didn't stop. You didn't even stop when you went to the.
I thought when we got to the track we would stop,
Yeah.
and that's what, and the police escort would end.
right.
And we were coming around turn 3 at speed of the banking, and I thought, oh my God, we're going to go for another lap. But there's still cars coming onto the track.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I could see people slowing down. So as we're coming on the track, we were leaving the track, and there were still people
Coming
in
on.
line coming in, and not like crawling. They were coming in at speed, like
That's
30
awesome.
miles an hour into the track. I thought this is very well organized.
Yeah, and it was a highlight. People, I mean, the biggest smiles on their face when they got back. So as people started rolling in, as I just mentioned, we were challenged by Paul Greger and Porsche AG. If you haven't seen yet, the 70 Years of Porsche Club logo was recently released, and they said, you know what, if any club could pull it off to create or recreate this logo with using actual cars, it would be the Porsche Club of America. So there you have it. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see we recreated the logo using, I believe, in their 65 cars. There was sort of a template that was shared with us by Porsche AG, but there was only one measurement on that template, and what we knew was the circle from side to side was about 45 meters. So from the 45 meters, we converted it, and then we measured out cars. Then we did the circle, and
You had the day before. Actually, you did it 2 days before.
Thursday,
before.
Friday, and then finish
But
Saturday.
the Friday when I was out there, you had 4 wannabe mathematicians, including our national treasure, who are trying to convert.
It's
metric-
amazing that we pulled it off.
and they're trying to measure. And it's me and who was else was out there driving? We were the cars that you were using to measure.
Todd, Gregory, Aaron was there on the first day.
Yep.
And then Craig Kugler. was
Craig
out there.
Kugler, yeah,
And Tom Gorsuch, I think, came out too for a little bit.
yeah, and we're chalking the parking lot, and it's not easy, and trying to be consistent, be even, spreading out cars. So laying it out was one thing. But then now these cars are coming back from the parade lap. And, of course, you can tell there's a cluster of red cars that we needed. And so, yeah, it's it sounds easy to park cars, but parking them like that and getting people to turn right, turn left, and, back up into spaces and not hit each other, it's
So
amazing.
all the cars parked on the edges, they had, I was car number maybe 40 in line. So as soon as I parked, I ran over. And I parked in another parking lot, and I ran over to help you guys out. And I could tell the person bringing the car, everyone was just following the car in front of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do they realize they're going into the parking lot, that they're going to be here for a while? And so as soon, we didn't even have time to explain to them that they're going to be in a photograph. We just said park on the edges and wait further instruction.
The cars on the perimeter are unintended. People, like you said, just pulled in, but they got to be part of the photo as well. So now this photo has been shared with PAG, and it'll probably make its rounds all over the world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So with that was sort of the big closer of Parade. I want to congratulate Ron Gordon, the Parade Committee, all the volunteers, and hopefully all the attendees. The largest parade ever, 3,000 people, 1,100 families. From
over 1,000, I think 1,100 Porsches.
Yep, over 1,000 Porsches as far away as Alaska coming, and we had AG folks. I mean, I think this one, the facility was I would say more of a fun, family-oriented facility because that had a big water park and stuff like that. That's what Parade is all about. Parade is not your 5-star hotel with 5-star food and stuff like that. It's meant to be available to all that want to come.
Lest we forget, too, who did we have for the first time in 3 years? A contingent from?
Porsche AG.
No, Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
in 3 years.
I know, right?
Yeah, able to see anybody from Alberta, Ontario.
It was nice to have everyone together. I mean, just have all those people, to see everyone. A lot of people brought their cars out. Surprisingly, a lot of people drove. Like usually you see a lot of trailers at Parade, and there were trailers, but not, I think most everyone drove.
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I think everyone had a great time. All the different events that we had were fully subscribed. Things were sold out. So I had the opportunity to bring my boys as well, and they loved working in the Parade store, and we had some battles on the RC course, and so fun time. Looking forward to if you're looking forward to going to Porsche Parade next year. We'll be in Palm Springs. This is the parade that would have happened the year that we started with COVID, and we're looking forward to go back. It's a beautiful location. It's the La Quinta in Palm Springs. There'll be registration information soon, and it'll be the same thing. It'll just be a week's full of everything Porsche, and I think being in the West Coast, we will have a huge turnout, and then we have access to things that are at the Porsche Experience Center, Porsche Motorsports, obviously lots of amazing cars in the West Coast. So
I'm thinking of driving.
Do you think of driving?
I'm really thinking of driving because it's probably the best chance to get my Porsche out there, back where I grew up, and drive those roads in it.
So here's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking about buying a car out there.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
So I'm
I know,
thinking
it's shocking.
You won't be able to wait till next year, though.
I'm thinking of taking one of my cars and leaving it in California, leaving it at my mom's for 2023.
Gotcha.
So
nice.
So I could do, if I got the car out there, I could do obviously Parade, I could do Works Monterey, I could do Rensport, I can do Unstock, I could do 4 events next year in my car. I just got to get it out there.
Get it out there, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'd drive the 87 all the way out there, but
I would probably recommend for anybody who maybe is on the fence about considering driving to California, especially if you live on the East Coast, is my opinion is that the roads right outside of Palm Springs are some of the best I've ever driven. There are no houses on the roads. There are no people walking around. You're in the mountains, the road, and the car. So highly recommended if you can.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
if I don't take my car, then I'm going to steal my dad's Boxster in Vegas and take his take his Boxster to everything.
Next year is going to be a lot of fun, being Porsche's 75th
I
anniversary.
know, right? So it's
they're
like,
going to have hopefully have a lot of things planned. And
but having said all that, for those of you that aren't going to have a car or want to go but aren't planning to bring a car, there's still so much to do at a parade. You could look at other rental facilities, say like a Turo, but we are working with Porsche Financial, and they have a program where you can rent Porsches. So hopefully that'll come to fruition, and we'll share that information so that you can be in a Porsche. But even if you're not in a Porsche at a Porsche parade,
I think you can still do the tours without a Porsche.
Yeah, you can still do the tours. You can, everything that's on property, you can take part of. It's awesome. So I think we talked about this earlier about Rensport is, there's so much going on. Yeah, it's cool to have your car, but even if you don't have your car, there's still plenty to do.
Yeah. I want to know, who was the person walking around parade this year with the Palm Springs 2020 T-shirt? That I thought that's like having like the losing team from the Super Bowl T-shirt.
They must have bought that at
I thought it was
parade
awesome
before, right? Because they sell.
Oh, you mean 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know like every 2020 parade item in stock here at PCA headquarters, we had to destroy.
Yeah.
They didn't want that out there. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like having, the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl champion
But
T-shirt.
that T-shirt's probably going to become kind
Right.
of valuable.
That person
'cause
better
it's
stop
so
wearing
rare.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frame it or something.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the news. Let's see. Let's talk about the.
Remember, we got.
What's that up here?
No, you didn't go for the whole agenda.
Didn't? Oh, I was going to go to that afterwards. You want to go to that now?
No, it's up to you.
We can go to it now. Okay. So, bucket list trip for someone at this table. Wasn't me, wasn't Rob, wasn't Manny. It was actually Damon.
Yeah.
And so, although he was working, 24 hours at Parade, he still mustered up the energy and hopped on a plane and went to England.
Yep. Somehow got myself there and was able to go to Goodwood on Saturday for that session. And I will be on record saying I liked how interactive it was. It was more fun than Rensport for me.
What?
Not
That's heresy.
I know.
As these Shark
It's-
Nose Ferrari F1 cars on the screen.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. Rensport's awesome, and it's a very similar event. But man,
But this is multi-mark. You're seeing all sorts of
multi-mark.
them.
So if you appreciate other cars, the level of interactivity, they had Jaguar F-types drifting around, and I believe people were going on a ride, a little kidney-shaped drift course. Porsche had a huge booth. It's not even really a booth. It's like a structure, multiple levels, tons of cars. They had a rally course out there, and I believe they were giving rides to people, and they were going off jumps and everything. Then I'm talking about all the stuff that had nothing to do with the hill climb.
Right.
It's amazingly big and fun when it comes to car events, and there's really not much like it except for Rensport that I've been to here in the U.S. or North America.
I have a question. So I've watched a lot of these, and I've been to other events in Europe, and I wonder, are there laws and restrictions different in the U.S.? Because it seems like people or spectators can get so much closer to the action.
Oh my!
Right. Well,
is that the case, or like
at the risk of offending anyone, Zuckerman, I think the they're not as litigious,
Right?
You know, like the plaintiff's attorney culture isn't what it is here.
But
Yeah,
I think that adds so much to their events because spectators have such access.
yeah.
I don't know if you saw some of the videos of the 963 was there, but that was not going up at full speed up the hill. But you might have seen the little fan car called the McMurtry. I forget what the actual car's name is, but that's the brand. They were there, electric powered car with 1 or 2 fans to create downforce, and it now holds the record at the hill climb. You watch that, search it on YouTube. Watch that thing go up the hill and tell me you're not worried about
Really?
that thing. A
looked
fan
like-
giving up and flying into the
The
crowd.
video looked like it sped up.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my
It
God,
looks
it's
fast
hilarious.
forward and it makes you think about everybody's safety there.
I
Yeah.
gotta see this.
So,
It's
but on the flip side, everything went really well as planned, and I'm sure anybody who could get up to the fence for that run and other runs probably had a once in a lifetime treat.
Yeah.
So,
That's
so
us-
you got to remember Laguna Seca, where they've been holding Rennsport, is a true purpose-built racetrack.
yeah.
So they've got to build it to protect spectators of
Right.
high-speed cars. So you're going to have a lot of catch fencing. You're going to have
Holy,
Yeah. So Rob is now watching the video. Oh my gosh.
this thing's got like a wheelbase of like 70 inches.
Yeah. So they have some in-car video of the driver. I believe they had a international hill climb champion. I forget his name. Then an F1 driver or former F1 driver, Chilton. I forget his first name.
That's not sped up. That's at. Sorry.
I know, right?
That's crazy.
So they have a in-car view of the one of the drivers of the McMurtry, and his eyes are just. It's like he didn't blink the whole run. Like, and
You
he's just
can't.
staring.
He's like doing-
so.
Yeah, he's doing the grandma driving almost just to be sure he's not missing
So
anything.
for someone who wants to fulfill this bucket list,
Yeah.
you fly into Heathrow,
Yep, flying to Heathrow.
and then you rent a car.
You can rent a car. It's really easy to get to, and my colleague Laura Burstein, who was there and did a video with us as well, she would know even more about this. But we had all these plans to potentially take the train and public transport, which is usually awesome
Transit
in the UK.
strike.
But there was a transit strike, so it was fortuitous that I had rented a car. You might consider it, for 4 days, 5 days. It'll probably run you, at least at this exchange rate, around $800 to $1,000 or so. Which
How was
quickly
driving
did
on the
you-
left?
I was going to say.
How
it was
driving?
really
Was it a
weird.
manual transmission car?
Yeah, I got a manual Golf
Okay.
Mark 8 TSI, and it's really awkward at first. Gosh, it's not even the driving with your left hand. It's more just making sure that you're in the lane where you're supposed to be, because it was easy to stay in the middle of the lane, but
Yeah.
you find yourself, if you stop thinking about it, you
drift to the left.
Did
start
right
drifting a
turns just
bit.
freak you out? Like the
It was
first
really
couple?
weird. There was a roundabout where I looked left, right, and then left.
Yeah.
But my last look should have been right, because
yeah.
I'm going the other way, and I got honked at. So
Yeah.
But everything was all good. It was a lot of fun. The roads are way thinner out there in the countryside, which wouldn't be a problem except for the bushes on the side of the road are right up next to you. And so you have a bunch of, and this happened to me, and this is why you get a damage waiver, right? Is scraping up against the bushes when people come barreling down in Rolls Royces, taking up the middle of the road so they won't be in the bushes. And they're thinking, you're just in a Mark 8 Golf, so move over. But it's really, really fun to drive out there. The roads are great, but yeah, be prepared. If you're not familiar with driving a manual, don't learn in England.
So how far is Goodwood from the airport?
I think that was a hour and a half, 2 hours or
It's
so.
like 80 miles or so.
Yeah, but
It's not far.
it's not like out here where in the U.S. where for the most part you can take highways or freeways, and you're moving for the most part very quickly. This is a lot of country roads,
Right.
which are beautiful. Some of the roads, it felt like, they were maybe 1,000 years ago. They were old dirt roads that you would
Which
have a horse on, which they probably were.
Yeah.
So-
No, my memory is that what they call the dual carriage motorway kind of ends with the ring road around London, and then it's kind of country
Oh,
roads.
it's like the Beltway out here or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like the M25 or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah.
But yeah, I loved it out there. Driving around was almost as fun as going to Goodwood. But no, Goodwood takes the cake. For me, maybe it's because I'm a little jaded being around Porsches all the time that Goodwood made a huge impression on me. I wish we could do something almost exactly like it here. It would be a lot of fun.
What is it? Did you see anything really weird? Anything weird and British that you wouldn't see here?
Oh, geez, I was focusing so much on the Porsches. Man, I didn't really take a ton of stock in the other marks.
You
Except
didn't
for
hang
the
out with the TVR people?
No, I couldn't. So I was
TVR
only
corral?
able. I was
That's why we
only.
can't send Rob to Goodwood.
I was only able to go Saturday. Go more than one day if you want to see everything. It's going to take you more than one day, and that was my limiting factor. So next year I'll make that change.
And they do this every year, unlike Rennsport, which has now been 5 years since the last one. And they do it twice a year. You have the Festival Speed, which Damon went to, and then they do the Revival.
That's the one I want to
That's
go
the one
to.
you and I want to go to. You get to dress up,
Dress
period.
up. Period, correct.
Not my thing.
Totally. Totally. All right, talk about the 963, because that's where it was unveiled.
Yeah. So 963, it's Porsche's new Le Mans. What is it? Le Mans Daytona Hybrid class car, LMDH. So
that thing's awesome.
it'll be going for overall victories. We all thought that it would have the Cayenne Panamera, Audi shared 4-liter twin turbo V8. No, it does not. It actually has the RS Spider derived / 918 Spider derived V8, but they've slapped on 2 turbochargers, and it's awesome.
Right.
It looks beautiful. I think we were having a discussion earlier. 919 versus the 963. 963 hands down looks better.
This is actually pretty. This is the best looking Porsche prototype since the 962.
919 looks cool. This is pretty.
I love how they all shared their architecture back to the 917.
Yeah.
You look at the cockpit and the way the window narrow and whatnot.
Right.
It's all.
Yeah, the headlights are
family.
pretty. It's just a good-looking car. What are the odds of a Strasza version?
Oh man, that would be awesome, but I doubt it. Or maybe go pay Multimatic, and see if they'll sell you a chassis. Put your own engine in or
when
something.
the guys from Porsche AG at Parade were saying, what would you have built from your Sonderwunsch?
Mm-hmm.
And I said I would want a 919 street car.
Yeah,
Or
that would
now
be cool.
we see this.
Now this,
Or this, something, a street version. Because we all think of the Count Martini, or Count Rossi, rather, 917 street car that Porsche built.
with Alabama plates.
Yeah, have something similar to the only like a LMP street car.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. You know how I feel about the 919 from just a purely aesthetic standpoint. Not the best livery to me. I don't think it's a terribly pretty car. This is gorgeous.
Who is this guy?
When
Who
it's
is this guy?
when it's sitting on first place, it looks very
No,
pretty.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. But all right, this is a pretty car. Can we all agree on that?
Very pretty
But
car.
I think the 919 was
I
very
think the
pretty.
919 looked.
It wasn't
gorgeous.
pretty. It was brutish. It was
Yes.
purposeful.
It
Yes.
looked
But
awesome.
But it wasn't
It looked
pretty.
awesome.
I mean, it looked in its own way.
I
It
don't want a
did.
princess car winning Le Mans. I want
Oh, like the 917?
I wanted something intimidating,
The
like Darth Vader.
917 was gorgeous. The 962, the 956 were all great looking cars.
You gotta look-
906,
I'll show you
904.
some pictures of the first Daytona prototypes.
Yeah.
Remember when NASCAR came, Grand Am came with that?
Those look cool, but not pretty. That's for sure.
Oh my God,
No.
look like Taurus.
All right, let's switch over the news since we're talking about 963. Who's going to talk about JDC Miller 963?
It's the one that. So I was talking to our resident racing expert Jim Hemmig, and so they're racing. JDC Miller's racing right now. They have a team, so it's great that they were selected to be one of the customer teams.
So Porsche is the first manufacturer to be selling their LMDH car to privateer racing teams. So we're seeing a lot of that with, what was this team? JDC Miller?
Yep.
Yep.
And Yoda.
Yoda or Jota, whatever, however it's pronounced.
It's great because this is what we saw with. We didn't see it with the 919, but we saw it with Penske. Not the Penske, the RS Spider.
RS Spiders.
A little bit with Dyson running it and some English teams, but really with the 956, 962, that was a heavily campaign car by customers, and so it'd be exciting if this is the same way where you have a whole slew at the 24 Hours of Le Mans Daytona of customer prototype cars.
Yeah, I always wondered about that too. I mean, how does the factory feel when a privateer team wins? Like Yost Racing and privateers, occasionally beat the works cars. How does that go down?
I remember at Daytona 24 Hours when they were racing the Daytona prototypes, and there was a factory entry running a flat six. And remember, there was the Action Express running the Cayenne block that was NASCAR'd out, if you will.
Yeah.
A bunch of NASCAR builders from Texas built up this Cayenne V8. And I remember hearing that Porsche wouldn't even let them put the word Porsche on the head, on the windshield or the crest on the car. Meanwhile, the other car was running a GT3R flat six, did have all that. But that car breaks down about 18 hours into the race, maybe 12, 18 hours into the race. And meanwhile, the Action Express is working its way up.
Chugging along, yep.
So suddenly the whole party shifted over to the Action Express, and suddenly they were best friends because they realized there's a good chance that Porsche, this car is going to win. It'll be a win for Porsche. So suddenly it was a Porsche. And, when they won, they had posters and press releases about how this Porsche-powered car won the 24 Hours of Daytona. So I think I would think that Porsche would be very happy to have I'm sure internally they'd rather have the works team always win, because then they got to explain what happened to the works team. But look at the 917s, the 956s, how many times the privateers made the car better.
Yeah.
And then the factory learned from what they were doing.
Yeah, no, I was at Le Mans in the 80s and watched the new man, Yost Racing cars beat the factory-backed Rothmans cars.
Yeah, it's got to help all around because, like Vu was at Pike's Peak. And when you have multiple cars, that means you have multiple spares. And if one team needs a spare and doesn't have it, Porsche Motorsports is going to go to that team and say, "Hey, we need to use your spare for another team, so he can keep running." And so you were asked to get
so we were there for Pike's Peak, and to give away a raffle car, and we were hanging out at Porsche Colorado Springs, and Lonnie Unser had a pretty big wreck practice. I think it was Thursday or Friday, and Porsche Motorsports literally loaded up half a car into a Cayenne. Friday morning, it was too late to ship it the normal way, and one of their employees from Porsche Motorsports drove from LA to the Experience Center and Motorsports to Colorado Springs and brought half of the car. But once they started assembling it, they realized they didn't have the lower spoiler, and now the car technically can run without that, right? And it would be fine, but you have a little bit less downforce. And Eric Skirmans came over and said, "Hey, can you put an APB out to PCA members and see if someone, one, has a spoiler, or if we can borrow the spoiler off of their GT4?" And within 3 minutes, we found someone locally that had a GT4. Now, unfortunately, the story doesn't have a storybook ending, in the sense where the car that came over that we found was actually a little bit older model, so the splitter wasn't exactly the same, and they found someone else. The dealer, I think, found someone else that had the same car, and they took the spoiler off of that car, lower front spoiler, put it on Lonnie Unser's car, rewrapped it, and Sunday morning when she was up at the line, the car looked perfect. And it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's the advantage of having a lot of cars.
Yeah.
The same car in a series, because you can share parts, and so I'm sure that's one of the things Porsche looks at.
Yeah, and people were proud. I mean, I can't tell you how many people were calling me and texting me, "Let me look for this car. I think this guy has one," and that's the power of PCA. And I think it impressed Porsche as well, that so many people are willing to do this. So yeah.
Did you get to see the Huna Pegasus run at all when you were there?
No, because it broke before I even got there.
Before you got there.
It broke before I even got there.
Man.
So we saw it in the fan zone, but it already broke. But yeah. So
It'll be back, is what I've heard.
Yeah. I'm sure it will be back. They got to prove a point.
Kudos to Cam Ingram.
Oh,
A
yeah.
Rhodes Scholar. He won his class.
Won
and,
his
wow.
That's great.
He's doing very
Congratulations,
well.
Cam.
He is
935?
moving up there.
No, and
He's driving, I think, the GT4. Or
GT4.
It was a GT4.
Yeah.
GT4, yeah.
Jeff Schwartz drove the 935.
Yeah.
But yeah. Cam,
Yeah, and conditions were not ideal.
So I saw.
I drove up on Saturday, and it was a beautiful day, and then next thing you know, there's that evening snow and rain and clouds, and it was terrible conditions.
Yeah. No, my favorite indie shop guy from Traverse City, Michigan, Sean Zimmerman, was there too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Randy Popes went up in his Tesla, and people were like, "What happened to him?"
Touchscreen, right?
Well, no,
he couldn't see the
he
screen.
couldn't. It fogged up, and it wouldn't clear.
Well, he couldn't reach it with his hands.
Yeah, he couldn't
So-
reach it.
What I was seeing was that the Tesla touchscreen, when that starts to happen, you don't want to be fumbling with the touchscreen to turn on your defogger.
yeah.
So Randy, at least this is what I read. I don't know where I read it. It was maybe the drive.com or something. But instead of trying to fumble with the touchscreen, he was reaching up to wipe the
Right.
windshield on the inside and the outside.
Right. He was trying to do that.
So
But he
Well,
couldn't. I heard
go figure.
He had to loosen his belts.
Oh,
Because,
man.
Now
Oh,
he had
my
this
gosh.
extended.
So-
The design of this windshield, so you couldn't reach over. It's not like an old 911 where you
Right.
can just move like this.
you
and
need like
touch
a
it.
mop.
So it's raining, snowed the night before. He's on the side of a mountain with a drop off on the right.
Yeah.
He's loosens his belts when
Driving
he's
at
driving and is wiping the windshield.
That's insane. That's insane. So me driving up on a clear day was pretty. You see those drop offs, and it's terrifying. I can only imagine not being able to see, driving at speed, and trying to clean your windshield at the same time.
And that's a story I'd love to hear first person from Randy. The
Yeah, I
guy's
would
a
love to, too.
great storyteller.
You know what the other thing too is you got to think about is not only is it buried in the touchscreen for the defroster, but you're wearing gloves.
Oh yeah,
So, but yeah, one day I've met Randy once. He probably doesn't
we'll get him
remember
on.
me,
He's
but-
a huge PCA friend of ours, and we spent
Yeah.
numerous events together. More recently, he was at Treffin with us, and he was dancing on the dance floor with us at the After Hours Lounge or something.
Yeah,
So
and I could listen to the guy talk for hours.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a raconteur in the classic sense, just a great storyteller.
Well, we are enjoying this new space of ours so much so that I think we're running a little bit long. So I'm going to fast forward to a couple of things, and you guys jump in if I miss anything that you think is important. One is I want to thank Art Tarchinsky for your review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for the 5 stars there. Those of you that are listening, if you haven't dropped us a comment or haven't subscribed, please do so. It means a lot to us. Upcoming events. Right now I have on my list here August 19th. If you haven't registered for Works Reunion Monterey, I believe the Judge area is sold out, but certainly you can sign up to park in the corral. We are at a new location. Monterey Pines is a beautiful golf course, and you won't be disappointed. The layout's going to be fabulous. It's much more centralized than the location that we were last year, and also the egress onto the property is much smoother, less dusty than last year, so we're looking forward to that.
But we're all staying Salinas, right?
We're not even.
No, not even that.
even in Salinas. Unfortunately, there's another 10-minute story for that one, but we will be there, and it'll be just
We have
fine.
to leave the hotel like 3 a.m. to get to.
It's all good.
All right.
It's
If
all
anybody
good.
wants to host me,
Yeah, it's all good. And then more recently, I was in Indianapolis with Porsche, getting ready for Sports Car Together Day. That's going to be over Labor Day weekend, September 1st through 4th. And PCAs can be, tickets are available now, so you can go ahead and order those. PCA will be handling corral parking, so you can get corral parking passes. You can also sign up for parade laps for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to be handling that. And for the first time, we will be having a GT-themed high-performance driver's education for advanced drivers, and more details on that to follow. Let's see. Anything else, guys, that you want me to hit before we sign off?
I think I'm good.
Well, we will be going weekly in about 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. So hopefully, today's show edit isn't too cumbersome for us doing it ourselves, and if we can be efficient, we will try to knock out these shows at least once a week. Speaking of knocking out a lot of content, I want to put your attention towards YouTube, and we've dropped a lot of videos since we were last together. We have the Parade Concourse, we have the Classic Club Coupe, we have 1 mile reviews of a 911 Carrera 2, 911 Turbo Tip. There's a hill climb video that Damon put together.
Yeah, by the time you watch this, Ruby Stone Carrera RS will be out.
Ruby Stone's coming out. Okay. 1 mile review of a modified Cayman. So tons of stuff. The whole reason why we're dropping all this content, and each and every one of you that are listening can help us. We're trying to get to the 100,000 subscriber mark in YouTube. That is a significant mark in the YouTube world, and we're trying to get PCA there, and it's free to do so. You just have to sign into your YouTube account. Help us get to 100K. That would mean so much to us. With that, anything else? All good? So thanks for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and you own a Porsche, just grab that VIN and go to PCA.org and sign up. You know, it's the best $46 that you could ever spend. And if you don't own a Porsche, we have a program called Test Drive where we will share with you all of our wealth of knowledge so that we can get you in the right Porsche. And of course, follow us on the podcast Instagram, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for us, hopefully we're coming through nice and clear and you like the new setup here at the PCA office. Just drop us a note at podcast@pca.org. And until next time.
Well, big thanks to Robert.
Oh, yes.
Forsyth,
Thanks to Robert
who's
Forsyth.
working control.
Yes.
And I love the fact that we can see the photos
Yeah.
and the videos right on cue. He did a phenomenal job today.
Thank you, Robert. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.